You don't really need to worry about helping, Christy. I mean, you can't afford this kind of wedding anyway. The words hit me like a slap. My sister Sienna's perfect red lips curled into what she probably thought was a sympathetic smile, but I knew better. I'd seen that look my whole life. I gripped my coffee mug tighter as we sat in her bright apartment. Wedding magazines were spread across her glass table, and her wedding planner, Melissa, glanced awkwardly between us. I was just offering to help with planning, I said quietly. Sienna laughed, flipping her shiny dark hair over her shoulder. That's sweet, but this is going to be a high-end wedding. The budget is, well, it's substantial. She exchanged a knowing look with Melissa. I nodded, swallowing the hurt. I was used to this. Being the sensible older sister while Sienna was the glamorous Instagram influencer with 500,000 followers who documented her perfect life. Of course, I said, just wanted to be involved. My phone buzzed, an email notification. I glanced down and froze. Subject: inquiry for Maplewood Estate, wedding venue, October 15th. I excused myself to the bathroom to read the email. My heart pounded as I scanned the message. Melissa had sent a booking inquiry for Maplewood Estate, my estate, for Sienna's wedding. This couldn't be happening. I'd bought the historic Maplewood property 4 years ago when it was practically falling apart. I poured everything into restoring it, turning it into one of Vermont's most exclusive wedding venues. The business operated through my LLC, with my identity kept private. I preferred staying behind the scenes. When I returned to the living room, Sienna was showing Melissa her Pinterest board. This is it, she gushed, pointing to a photo of sweeping grounds and a stone mansion framed by maple trees in full autumn glory. Maplewood Estate, it's absolutely perfect. I've dreamed about getting married there since I was 18. My stomach twisted. It was my venue, in her dreams for years apparently. Looks beautiful, I managed. It's super exclusive, Sienna said. Only a few weddings per year, but Melissa says she can get us in. I forced a smile as my mind raced. That's wonderful. That night, I sat at my kitchen table staring at my laptop. Maplewood's booking system showed the inquiry from Melissa. I could decline it with one click. But I didn't. Instead, I approved the booking with one special condition. The owners request a handwritten thank you letter from the bride prior to the event. My venue manager, Luke, called me immediately. Christy, you never asked for letters from brides. What's going on? It's for my sister, I said quietly. Wait, Sienna? The one who… Yes, the one who has no idea I own Maplewood. Luke whistled. This could get messy. Or it could be perfect, I replied. Just don't tell her who owns it. Not until the wedding day. The next morning, Sienna posted on Instagram, breaking news. The most exclusive venue just accepted our wedding application, manifesting my dream wedding at Maplewood Estate. Bride-to-be things, dream come true. I sipped my coffee and wondered what she'd say if she knew who approved her application. I called my friend Taylor the next day. She was a wedding planner I'd worked with often, someone I trusted completely. I need your help with something delicate, I said after explaining the situation. Taylor laughed so hard she snorted. Let me get this straight. Your sister, who's been condescending to you your whole life, wants to get married at your venue, but doesn't know it's yours? Exactly. And what are you planning to do? Sabotage her wedding? I was shocked at the suggestion. No, just the opposite. I want to make it perfect, the most beautiful wedding Maplewood has ever hosted. Taylor was silent for a moment. You sure you don't want to tell her beforehand? I thought about all the times Sienna had dismissed me, belittled my career choices, called me boring. No, not yet. All right, Taylor said. Let's give her a wedding no one will forget. Mom, do you have any old photos from when we were kids? I asked, sitting at my parents' kitchen table one Sunday afternoon. Mom pulled out a dusty album. What are you looking for? Just memories, I said. As we flipped through the pages, a pattern emerged. Sienna center stage at dance recitals, Sienna blowing out birthday candles, Sienna in her prom dress. You were always so quiet, Mom said, pointing to a photo where I sat reading while a party happened around me. Never wanted attention like your sister. I remembered that day. It was my 10th birthday, but somehow Sienna had ended up opening half my presents. You're the sensible one, Mom continued, not noticing my expression. Sienna's the dreamer. If only they knew. While Sienna dreamed loudly, I built quietly, 5 rental properties and Maplewood Estate. Later, I stayed up late adjusting the lighting plan for Sienna's wedding. Every detail would be perfect. Melissa forwarded me Sienna's handwritten letter a week later. As the anonymous owner, I had requested it as a condition of booking. Dear Maplewood Estate owners, it began in Sienna's loopy handwriting. The note was exactly what I expected, rushed, insincere, with 3 spelling errors. She mentioned being an influencer twice and hinted at possible promotional opportunities. I laughed out loud at her closing line. It would be an honor to showcase your beautiful venue to my 500,000 followers. Luke watched me read it. That bad? Worse, I replied, tossing the letter onto my desk. But it doesn't matter. I didn't really care about the letter itself. What did you care about? I wanted to see if she'd put any real effort into it. And I shook my head. Just like everything else, all show, no substance. But it didn't change my plans. Sienna's wedding would still be perfect, even if she didn't deserve it. Sienna's latest video went up while I was reviewing quarterly reports for my properties. Guess who got approved for the Maplewood Estate? She squealed to her followers, her perfectly contoured face filling my screen. The owners must have seen my profile and realized I was perfect for their venue. Only 5 weddings a year there, guys. 5. And I'm one of them. I sipped my tea, watching her spin a fantasy where she'd been chosen rather than simply approved like any other paying client. The owners are like super private, she continued. Probably some old money family or tech billionaires. Taylor says they never show their faces. My doorbell rang. It was a delivery, flowers with a card addressed to the owners of Maplewood Estate. Inside was a note from Sienna. Looking forward to making your venue look good on my feed. Hope you're not camera shy. I tossed the flowers in the compost and kept the card as a reminder of why I was doing this. Christy, did you find a dress yet? Mom asked at Sunday brunch. Before I could answer, Sienna jumped in. Don't worry about that, Mom. I already told her she doesn't need anything fancy. I focused on spreading jam on my toast. I'll find something appropriate. I mean, it's not like you need to spend much, Sienna continued, typing on her phone while she talked. You're not in the wedding party photos anyway. Mom shot me an apologetic look. Dad cleared his throat uncomfortably. Christy's probably working overtime just to afford a dress for the wedding, Sienna added with a laugh. I took a slow sip of coffee. Something like that. Later, as I checked my email in the car, I saw a message from my investment partner. Q2 numbers are in. Portfolio revenue hit $7.2 million this year. Maplewood bookings up 40%. Well done. I started my sensible, mid-priced car and drove home in peaceful silence. We might need to scale back on the flower budget, Jason, Sienna's fiancé, said during their meeting with Taylor. I wasn't supposed to be there, but Taylor had asked me to accidentally stop by with coffee. Sienna's face crumpled. But the floral arch is everything. It's the focal point of all the photos. I know, babe, but we're already over budget by... This is my day. Sienna snapped. We are not cutting the flowers. I set the coffees down. Maybe there's a way to work it out. Sienna rolled her eyes. Unless you're offering to pay for it, Christy, this isn't your problem. After they left, Taylor turned to me. Please tell me you're not. Call the florist, I said quietly. Tell them to use the premium package. The estate will cover the difference. You didn't need to do that, Taylor said. It's not for her, I replied. It's for the guests. They deserve the fantasy. I met Sienna at the bridal boutique for her final dress fitting. I wasn't invited, but Mom insisted I come along. You look beautiful, I said honestly as Sienna twirled in layers of silk and lace. The stylist, a French woman with silver hair, nodded approvingly. Then she turned to me. And you, mademoiselle, what will you wear? Before I could answer, Sienna cut in. Oh, Christy keeps things simple. She's not really into fashion. The stylist looked at me more closely. But you have such elegant features. The high cheekbones, the posture. You could wear couture beautifully. I thanked her politely, but didn't miss how Sienna's smile tightened at the corners. The next day, I received a text from Sienna. Change of plans. Bridesmaids are now wearing sage green instead of blue. Just FYI. I wasn't a bridesmaid, but as I looked in my closet at the blue dress I'd bought for the wedding, I understood perfectly what had happened. My phone buzzed with a new notification. Sienna has added you to Sienna's dream wedding. The group chat was filled with messages about nail appointments, hair trials, and bachelorette party plans. When I scrolled up, I saw weeks of conversations I hadn't been included in. "Hi everyone," I typed. "Let me know if there's anything I can help with." 3 hours passed. The chat stayed active with bridesmaids discussing shoes, but no one acknowledged my message. Finally, Sienna replied with a meme of a woman saying, "Stay in your lane," with laugh-crying emojis. I put my phone down and opened my laptop. In my email was an update from Luke about an issue with Sienna's wedding. The vintage champagne coupe glasses she wanted weren't available. I sent a private message to Taylor. "Order the Parisian crystal coupes for Maison Blanche. Let's give her everything she wants." Taylor replied immediately, "You're either a saint or planning the longest con ever." Maybe I was a little of both. 2 weeks before the wedding, disaster struck. Sienna called me sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. "The dress, shipping, customs," she wailed. I rushed to her apartment. Sienna sat surrounded by crumpled tissues while Melissa paced nervously. "Her custom dress is stuck in customs," Melissa explained. "It won't arrive in time." Sienna looked up at me, mascara streaking down her cheeks. "Everything is ruined." I took a deep breath. "Let me make a call." I stepped outside and dialed my friend Elena, a designer who owed me a favor. 10 minutes later, I returned. "Elena can see you tomorrow. She has 3 dresses that might work, and she can alter one to fit you perfectly." Sienna blinked. "Who's Elena?" "Someone I know," I said simply. 3 days later, Sienna had a dress more beautiful than her original. She posted it everywhere, thanking her fairy godmother Melissa for saving the day. I didn't mind. The relief on her face had been enough. "Have you heard what Rachel is planning for her toast?" Taylor asked me. We were at my home office, finalizing details for the wedding that was now just days away. "No, what?" Taylor winced. "It's not great. She's planning to make jokes about how different you and Sienna are, how she's the pretty one and you're the smart one." I felt a familiar sting, but kept my face neutral. "Let her." "You sure?" "I could talk to her." I shook my head. "Everyone will remember the toast very differently after the reception." The night before the wedding, at the rehearsal dinner, Rachel raised her glass. "To Sienna, the star of our family." "And Christy?" "Well, we're shocked she found a dress that fits her budget." People laughed uncomfortably as I clinked my glass with a calm smile. My moment would come soon enough. Sienna arrived at Maplewood the day before the wedding for the final walkthrough. I watched from the upstairs window as she stepped out of her car, gasping as she took in the sweeping grounds and historic stone mansion. "It's even more beautiful than the pictures," she whispered loud enough for me to hear. Luke gave them the official tour while I stayed hidden, watching my sister touch the antique furnishings with reverence. "Whoever owns this place must be actual royalty," Sienna said to Jason. Jason looked around thoughtfully. "The design is incredible. Very tasteful. Kind of reminds me of your sister's style, actually." Sienna laughed. "Christy? Please. This is way out of her league." I slipped away before they could spot me, a strange mix of hurt and anticipation twisting in my stomach. In 24 hours, everything would change. "And through these French doors is the bridal suite," Luke continued the tour. I watched from the hidden staff passage as Sienna ran her fingers over the vintage vanity I'd personally restored. "The owner has excellent taste," Melissa commented. Luke nodded. "Yes, missive." He caught himself just in time. "Yes, the estate has been carefully curated." My heart stopped. He'd almost said, "Miss Evans," my name. Sienna was too distracted by the crystal chandelier to notice, but Jason frowned slightly. When they moved to the next room, my phone buzzed with a text from Taylor. "That was close. You almost got caught." I replied, "Let her enjoy her illusion. It ends soon." I spent the rest of the day hiding in plain sight, pretending to be part of the venue staff. Sienna walked right past me twice without a second glance. Just like always, she didn't really see me, but tomorrow, that would change. "Have you seen your sister's dress?" Mom asked as we had tea in the estate's garden the morning of the wedding. I nodded. "It's beautiful." "She's going to be the most gorgeous bride Maplewood has ever seen," Mom said proudly. Her eyes softened as she looked at me. "You look nice too, Christy." I smoothed my simple green dress. I'd changed my outfit after Sienna's last-minute color switch. Sienna's always been my social butterfly, Mom continued. This wedding is everything she deserves. You'll have your turn someday, honey. Maybe not something this grand, but something nice. I sipped my tea and watched the staff arrange white roses in the ancient stone urns, exactly as I designed it. Maybe someday, I echoed. Mom patted my hand and left to help Sienna get ready. I stood alone in the garden of my estate, surrounded by the beauty I'd created. I already did, I whispered to myself. You got a minute? Jason caught me in the hallway as guests began to arrive. My brother-in-law to be looked handsome in his tuxedo, but his expression was troubled. Everything okay? I asked. He ran a hand through his hair. Yeah, just nervous. And he hesitated. Sometimes I wonder if Sienna's too caught up in all this. He gestured at the elaborate decorations and the photographer documenting every detail. You mean the show of it all? I asked gently. Exactly. It's like she cares more about how it looks than what it means. He frowned. Sorry, I shouldn't be saying this to you. It's okay, I said. Sienna has always valued appearances. It's just her way. But there's more to life than looking good on Instagram, right? I smiled. Sometimes truth hides behind polish. He looked at me curiously, but before he could respond, his best man called him away. The ceremony was about to begin. I couldn't sleep. It was after midnight, the night before the wedding, and I stood at my window overlooking the estate grounds. Lanterns glowed softly along the paths, and the maple trees rustled in the autumn breeze. From my room in the east wing, I could hear laughter coming from the bridal suite. Sienna and her bridesmaids were having a sleepover, complete with champagne and face masks. Through the cracked window, their voices carried clearly. God, did you see Christy's dress? One of them said. So boring. That's just Christy, Sienna replied. Never wants to stand out. No ambition. She's nice though, someone offered. Oh, totally, Sienna agreed. Just dull. Can you imagine living her life? No glamour, no excitement, just work and home, work and home. I closed the window and returned to my book, a first edition Austen I'd bought at auction last year. Outside, fairy lights twinkled in trees that belonged to me. Let them talk, I thought. Tomorrow would change everything. The ceremony was perfect. October sunshine bathed the grounds in golden light. Maple leaves in brilliant red and orange created a natural canopy over the white chairs. I sat in the second row beside my parents, watching Sienna float down the aisle in the dress I'd helped save. She was radiant, her face glowing with joy as she met Jason at the altar. Their vows were beautiful. I found myself blinking back tears when they exchanged rings. Despite everything, Sienna was my sister, and part of me was genuinely happy for her. As the string quartet played and the newlyweds kissed, guests sighed with appreciation. The setting was magical, exactly as I'd planned it. It's a Pinterest dream come true, I overheard someone whisper. During the photos, I blended into the background as usual. The reception began in the grand hall, decorated with cascading autumn flowers and twinkling lights. As dinner concluded, Luke caught my eye across the room. He nodded slightly. It was time. The champagne flowed as guests finished their desserts. The golden hour cast a magical glow through the estate's tall windows. Luke stepped up to the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, before we open the dance floor, we have a tradition at Maplewood Estate. The room quieted. At each wedding, we'd like to acknowledge the vision that makes this venue possible. It's my honor to invite the owner of Maplewood Estate to offer a toast to our beautiful couple. Sienna straightened in her seat, looking around excitedly. Jason squeezed her hand. I took a deep breath and stood up. Conversations halted as I walked to the center of the room in my simple green dress. What are you doing? Sienna hissed as I passed her table. I took the microphone from Luke. I'd like to thank Sienna and Jason for choosing my venue for their special day, I said softly. I'm honored to have hosted your dream wedding at Maplewood. I hope it was everything you imagined. Silence fell like a heavy curtain. Sienna's champagne glass froze halfway to her lips. Wait, you own this place? Jason whispered, loud enough for everyone to hear. I nodded calmly, looking directly at my sister. Yes, since 2018. The room erupted in whispers. Sienna's face had gone pale beneath her makeup. Mom's mouth hung open in shock. Dad looked from me to the estate walls as if seeing them for the first time. That's not possible, Sienna finally managed, her voice strained. You don't. I do, I said simply. Maplewood is mine. I restored it personally. A nervous laugh bubbled from Sienna's throat. But you're just what? I asked quietly. The question hung in the air. A cell phone flashed as someone took a photo. This just got wild, a bridesmaid whispered loudly. I raised my glass. To Sienna and Jason, may your marriage be blessed with truth and understanding. Guests lifted their glasses automatically, still processing what was happening. Jason's face broke into a slow, impressed smile. That's badass, Christy, he said. I slipped out to the garden after the toast. The fairy lights were coming on as dusk settled, reflecting in the fountain I'd restored from ruins. Christy. I turned to see Sienna hurrying toward me, the train of her dress gathered in one hand. Her face was flushed, eyes wide with confusion and something else. Anger? Embarrassment? Why didn't you tell me? She demanded when she reached me. Would you have listened? I asked quietly. Of course I would have. I'm your sister. I raised an eyebrow. The same sister who said I couldn't afford to help plan this wedding? Who never asked about my work? Who assumed I had nothing to offer? Sienna's lips pressed together. For once, she had no quick comeback. I'm sorry, she finally said, the words sounding unfamiliar on her tongue. I started to walk away. This wasn't about humiliating her. I'd said what needed to be said. Christy, wait, she called. Can I take a photo with you here? For memories? I looked back at her. Sure, but tag the venue, not me. The photo went viral overnight. Sienna posted it with the caption, Plot twist. My boring sister owns my dream wedding venue. Still processing. I woke to dozens of missed calls and hundreds of notifications. Friends I hadn't heard from in years suddenly wanted to catch up. High school classmates who'd never given me a second glance were sending friend requests. My phone buzzed with Luke's call. Have you seen the bookings coming in? Every bride who follows your sister wants Maplewood now. We're getting requests for 2026 already. I sighed. This wasn't what I wanted. The attention felt uncomfortable, invasive. But it was good for business. Just handle it like always, I told him. Quality over quantity. Later, I met with Taylor to review the wedding details. She slid a tablet across the table showing Sienna's post and the thousands of comments. Your big reveal certainly made an impression, she said. How does it feel? Strange, I admitted. But maybe a little satisfying too. Did you see the comments? Taylor asked over lunch a week after the wedding. I nodded. Beneath Sienna's viral post, her followers were questioning everything. Wait, you made fun of your sister for years, but she's actually super successful? Who's the real influencer here? The quiet ones are always hiding something. Sienna, you need to address this. Did you really not know? The backlash had clearly rattled my sister. Her usual posting schedule had stuttered to a halt, but then something unexpected happened. Jason went live on Sienna's account, addressing her followers directly. Christy is incredible, he said firmly. She built something amazing from nothing, and instead of bragging, she let her work speak for itself. That's real influence. Sienna's learning from her now, and so should all of you. Most surprising of all was the notification that popped up on my phone. A Facebook post from Mom. So proud of both my daughters, Sienna for her beautiful wedding, and Christy for her incredible business success. Sometimes the quiet ones surprise you the most. 6 months later, I walked through Maplewood's grounds alone. Frost kissed the grass, and the maple trees stood bare against the winter sky. The estate was quiet, resting before spring weddings began. The door to my office opened, and Taylor stepped out onto the terrace. The Thompson wedding is confirmed for May, she said, joining me. And Sienna called. She wants to know if you'll have lunch with her next week. I nodded. Things with my sister were different now, more honest, still fragile. She'd stopped dismissing me at least. Any regrets? Taylor asked. About how you revealed everything? I thought about it, watching my breath form clouds in the cold air. None, I finally said. She wanted a fairy tale wedding. I gave her one. Taylor smiled, with a plot twist no one saw coming. I just happened to be the queen of the castle, I said softly. We turned back toward the house. My house. As I stepped through the doorway, I felt at peace. For the first time in my life, I was exactly where I belonged, no longer invisible, no longer overlooked. Sometimes the quietest success speaks the loudest.